Expanding on fills. How many here are frustrated because they play the same fills over and over and over again? Alright. One way to expand on fills that, obviously, even with my students, I can't tell somebody what to play. But what I can do is, I have a lot of students who are beginners of mine, that might have 2 fills that they do, typically. So when they're usually playing a beat, they might go to 1 or 2 different fills. And what I say to them is, instead of thinking to yourself, I only have these 2 fills, what I say is start to combine those 2 fills. Okay, so let's say that your 2 fills are, okay, maybe you do this, like, those are 2 fills you're playing. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is combine them. Don't play them separate all the time. So you might want to play like this. Now you could, first of all, you could make that whole fill 1 measure long. So you could be playing 1, 2, 4, 1, 1. That's another one, but then, that's another one that's pretty standard. But then, after you combine your fills, try breaking up the 16th notes. Just try leaving some out. So instead of always playing straight through, try playing something like. And all I'm doing is, I'm trying to keep it simple so that everybody can understand that all I'm doing is I'm playing the same idea that I started with, but now I'm just leaving parts out. I'm taking 16th notes and removing them. And then another thing you start to do too is, if you normally play this fill on the snare drum, try going back and forth between 2 drums maybe. So instead of always going, here we go. Or how about invert the thing? Combinations. So my idea to you guys is don't feel limited by what you're doing, and don't be frustrated by it. Try to take that idea and expand on what you already have, and you'd really be surprised at how many different combinations you can come up with. There's a lot of different things you can do. Anybody have any thoughts on expanding fills? Yes? The question was, if I'm playing maybe a driving chorus, and if the music's kind of rocking, and the idea is to not break up the 16th notes, but to keep the groove going, what would I do with something like that? So maybe, in some heavier music, I might be riding on the crash, something like that. Then what I might do is I would still keep that beat going, but I might just do some accents here and there, maybe between the snare drum and the bass drum. So if this is my groove in the chorus. What I might do there is while I'm keeping that groove on, I might do something like this. This is off the top of my head. 2, 3, 4. And so I'm just doing some things that if people are out there moving their heads and they're into the music, I'm not making them, do one of those things and they're not stopping what they're doing. Does that answer the question? Okay, yeah, and the idea there is, if anybody picked up on it, was that for the most part, because it is a driving pattern, I'm not really letting off of that 8th note thing. So as I'm on the crash and I'm more on the ride, wherever you might be, if I'm going, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, even though I'm playing a fill along with that, I'm not losing that. So I'm going like. And it's doing different things, but I'm still kind of keeping that going so people don't lose track of the groove. This is a good question.